I think I'm supposed to mulligan this. It's pretty borderline. I think if this is a red source and I can just have looting if grandma dies, that probably would be a keep. Okay, we'll keep this one back to Riddler. Any white and ice still decks you copy? You could look at the Mox field. There's, I think, at least one. Can you fit Bowmasters in there? I also had a Sultai build. I had a Sultai build that was playing Shielded and Bowmaster. Then this, I had some awesome games with this, but like, awesome games doesn't exactly mean it's ready for a stream. I think I'm just digging. My opponent is likely playing Boros, and if that's the case, rumbling this turn so a discharge isn't super efficient is nice. And then if we find a Cauldron, we can go FOMO, discard, and then cast Cauldron also. So we do find that. Let's go ahead and play for that. Nice. Have I tried Vivi as a value piece without Cauldron? Yeah, we have a lot when it came out. And it is an okay value piece. We played a lot of like Flame of Anor decks, some like Mox decks with it too. Seems like we have maybe successfully played around Galvanic Discharge. Nice that this hand doesn't really mind a Blood Moon so much. So they play a Goblin Bombardment. So I think with the draw of Wistfulness, I'd like to just play a Cauldron this turn. So that next turn I can go Wistfulness, discard Vivi, make 7 mana. Also, has Boros been back to playing the basic mountain? I thought they would cut the basic mountain, but I played against a Boros player last night who had it, and I was like, I haven't seen that in a while. It's not too scary. We might as well exile a card in the graveyard because of Flage. Not that I think it will almost ever possibly come up this game. I don't think they cut it for more than 1 week. I might just be mistaken then. I thought they had moved to all planes a while ago. Okay, let's go ahead and probably just leave both green sources up because I can make a bunch of red mana with the VV stuff here. We only have 2 Profts left in the deck, which is maybe a little bit difficult here. So we're going to need to find a Fatestitcher at some point. Let's make 7 mana. Probably 3 red, 4 blue. Have I tried the Bowmaster Monolith infinite combo? What Monolith? No, I don't know what that is. So if we don't find a Fatestitcher, we're gonna be, or maybe like Rumble, we're gonna be in some trouble here. Oh, you know what? Now I've messed up because I no, I didn't leave up the blue to Rumble into Fatestitcher. Hard deck for sure. I did miss, which I guess is in a weird way nice. No Fatestitchers in the top 29. Why not FOMO, discard VV, then Wistfulness to get rid of bombardments? I was of the opinion that our ability to win the game this turn was pretty high. If we had just been able to find a Fatestitcher in all of these cards, we could have made a lot more mana and try to draw our deck and win the game. So I thought that was better than just trying to kill the bombardment this turn. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe we'll die. I think while our opponent tanks, I'll probably just F6 here. Thanks, Pi, for the raid. Hope you all are doing well. We're basically at 8 life right now. Yeah, maybe we should take the Wistfulness line. All right, I'm gonna bring in 4 copies of Pyroclasm. I was kind of thinking maybe I would cut the grandmas because they're the only things that die to them, but then I lose. I think like the lack of turn 1 plays is also kind of awkward. So we'll cut like 1 grandma and both Riddlers. Be Rumble. Is Culling Ritual too slow against Boros? Culling Ritual is good against Boros, but you are just dead on turn 3 sometimes. I do think Boros being a deck that can kill on turn 3 is really tough. Not that it does very often. I don't like that the looting needs us to find like land, creature, and I guess not creature and Cauldron, but land and Cauldron. It's Mulligan. Is there a reason for the Flooded Strands? You all the fetchables are blue. We don't need to overthink it. The Wistful line you could have hardcast if you put the counter on FOMO. Could I have greened it if I did that? Yeah, it does seem like I was maybe too ambitious thinking I could win there. Although we are going to win the game a lot of the time there. Just trying to stabilize. Game 1 was probably the better line. We'll graveyard that for value here. Although maybe we want to cast it turn 3. Yeah, sorry, what is this Monolith combo with Bowmaster? What card is Monolith? Weird they didn't lead on Ragavan. Guess they drew it. They flip over the 3rd Cauldron. It's kind of funny. What could they possibly be thinking about here? I guess Discharge versus Guided Ocelot Pride. Mana Tithe. Not really any different from Discharge, but somehow feels worse. You've got a Vivi in the yard, though. Crazy how awful this Pyroclasm has been against them. Despite them having 3/1 drops. It's so hard to fight Boros. Got a lot of good top decks, though. A lot of game-winning top decks. They flip over Profs. Need to find a creature. Moving on. I think it's better to lead on Breeding Pool instead of fetching for Steamman so we could draw Wistfulness and disenchant like an Amulet or Saga or something. Combo deck over sideboarding. Yeah, like sideboarding with this deck's really weird because you have all this looting, right? Maybe if this is Boros again, we'll just try not sideboarding, but you have all this like looting stuff, so you get to, in theory, you get to like loot it away when it's bad and dig for it when it's good. Oh, you know what? I should have Played Cauldron main phase 1, because then I would have gotten in for a damage here. Still, nobody's told me what this monolith card is. Like, is it Basalt and Grim Monolith aren't legal in Modern? I don't know what card Monolith is still. If I find a second Fatestitcher, we could do the Grand Mal combo, maybe. Okay, Requiem Monolith. So end of turn, target. Okay, whenever this creature is dealt damage, lose that many, or you draw that many cards, lose that much life. Yeah, I mean this only matters with how much toughness the creature has if you're trying to bowmaster it, right? All right, I'm pretty sure we're supposed to Cauldron the Stitcher onto Gran-Gran now. Find a Wistfulness. So a Fatestitcher or a Vivi will win us the game this turn. I think I'm going to fetch a basic island to thin. And then lead on a looting. Ding, ding, ding. Haven't done this yet today, so you may be unfamiliar with it. Always yes. Don't want to always yield yet. So let's go save targets, always yes, always yield. And then save targets. So eventually what we're going to do is we're going to draw our entire deck and we're going to cast Proft's Idyllic Memory or whatever that card's called, and then Cauldron the Ballista on whatever and just kill them. Ferg with the 2 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. I guess I'll just cast this now. Don't know why I have to click OK on that. Because maybe this is not auto yielded. So the auto yield is really I mean, it says it's yielded. I'll just click always yield again. Okay, looks like it's yielded now. Gran-Gran's untap thing wasn't on yield. I thought I saw the little yield sign, but I guess not. There's a ballista in here somewhere. We just gotta find it. Let a real 1-drop take over a modern game opponent. Imagine imagine this is what your 3 1-drops do. Pretty embarrassing if you ask me. All right, there it is. Pretty cool. So we're sideboarding. We're up a game against Boros this time, instead of losing a winnable game one. Okay, I think I've got too many Pyroclasms in my sideboard. I'm just going to try cutting Riddlers for Pyroclasms, and then we'll see how this feels, but I think we just would have we maybe would have won our sideboard game if we just didn't board in any Pyroclasms. My opponent did play perfectly around them for whatever that's worth. Might be tempted to bring in 2/4s. Is it good if a Wrath Disguise, or what are you worried about? 2 Pyro, 2 Heats. I just feel like I'm over sideboarding. So I'm not sure exactly what else, like what other sideboard cards we're gonna play, but there's also a lot of options. Any answers to Clarion Conqueror? I guess not. How common is Conqueror though? I feel like I haven't seen one in a while, but maybe it's just still in Boros sideboards. You're worried about Bombardment? I don't think I'm that worried about Bombardment. So the combo is to target their CR creature, I guess, with Monolith, make it indestructible, easy, and then hope no salty. It seems like a lot worse than Flump combo to be. How did Flump Bowmaster work again? Did you have to make the Flump indestructible? Yes, you have to make your Flump indestructible. But I did like that Bowmaster like started the loop once it was indestructible. But then you were really weak to Solitude decks. What about my combo Screaming Nemesis and Volcano Hellion? You've cracked it. Sounds broken. Alright, on the draw for game 2. Hellion's a really cool card. What match did you want to go for? Pyroclasms, you only 2 in Boros. You missed last round. We played against Boros. We had 4 Pyroclasms. We lost because my opponent, I mean, maybe it was just because my opponent played perfectly around it, but the Pyroclasm sat dead in my hand as it could only ever kill 1 creature. I did other things with my mana instead. And if the Pyroclasms were action, like normal combo pieces, I could have won. I could have won. So, we decided for this game to try playing less Pyroclasms to see how this feels. The Winternight Stories seem quite weak, don't you think? No. They are absolutely mandatory to make sure you can loop through your deck. They the deck like literally doesn't function without them, and they also get looted away for value, which like is never weak, I think. Yeah, initially the Pyroclasms were all for Boros, so they just didn't test very well so far. Although, you know, this game they would have been great, so maybe they're just high variance. Maybe Pyroclasm on the draw more answer. Yeah, maybe. I mean, like one thing though is just like we had an opponent who played Guide of Souls turn 1 instead of Ragavan, and then they dashed the Ragavan, and then they waited to play the second guide until the first guide got around it. And so they just played perfectly around it, and you know that's fine. But when we have an opponent who does that, it does seem like winning is gonna be difficult. I think I want to keep second Cauldron because is this game gonna go that long? Yeah, I guess I'll graveyard or discard the Cauldron. No VVs this deep is also tough. There's the props though. Is there any value in doing a 2/2 split of Fire Magic Plasm? It's just kind of tough to like reliably spend 3 mana on Fire Magic in this deck, I think. My sideboard theory is if I'm faster than my opponent, I don't bring in cards that disrupt their game plan. I bring in cards that stop their cards to stop my game plan, i.e. ways to kill Conqueror. My opponent's faster than me, I bring in cards that stop their plan Pyroclasm. Yeah, I guess that's a good theory for Heat. One thing against Boros is like as fast as you and plays a lot of disruption. Or I guess they're a little slower, but it's like, you know, Boros is a deck that does everything. So it's tough to sideboard against them. Any thoughts on turtles today? I started building the PowerPoint. There's some cards I really like. I really like this card, Rat King. I actually think Krang could do some stuff. You could do some stuff with Krang. I think April looks pretty interesting. I think Casey Jones, like an unearthable draw 3, just try to empty your hand afterwards, looks pretty cool. I think Super Shredder is pretty cool. Then there's like a bunch of like kind of more fringe stuff. I think Krang is also really good in Affinity. Draw 4. That's also like a giant creature is pretty unique. So I don't think there's gonna be a ton of stuff. Oh, I also like Leonardo's technique more than the first time I read it. It's like a Coco from stuff from the graveyard. Zopper, the 29 months. Thank you. Welcome back. So they're holding up mana. Okay, fun. Right.
Bye bye. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. TMNT.
Esther's thoughts. The red class that shocks in this card. I don't think I saw that one. So now it's more important my grandma lives because I can combo kill with it next turn. Although we're kind of dead to most things here. Maybe I put counters on the FOMO so we can beat. If they have just a discharge, we can win if that happens. Ursh with the 30 months. Thank you. Welcome back. That wasn't the TMT theme song. I don't know. I've never consumed any turtle content outside of Magic the Gathering. I think Esther watched it when she was a kid though. She said, "Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that." Okay, whenever you attack, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. Level 2, whenever you discard a card, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. And then 3 mana, level 3, search your library for a card, put in a hand. Oh, it's a gamble. Cool. Yeah, I think I like that card. I don't know how they have 2 cards in their hand. I mean, I guess my board state's weird. So they 3 Charm, kill the FOMO. This is what we were hoping, and now we're hoping that their hand contains no fetch land, no creature removal spell. I don't know how that's really possible out of 2 cards. No bombardment. Maybe I could beat Guide of Souls. Yeah, it looks like I'm not dead to Guide of Souls, actually. Yeah, I guess I can beat most creatures, actually. Wait, am I... Oh, the stupid land. Oh, I think I'm dead to the stupid land. No, I go to 1. No, I go to 0. Damn it. Oh, and they can also... Oh, my opponent... How are we possibly tank bombardmenting here? There are other... Thanks for showing me the other card of Seasoned Pyromancer. Doesn't jump on cat kill me. All right, yeah, we were dead to any creature. No lands. Digging for a Vivi. It's crazy we designed a Johnny in a format with bombardment already legal. I know. I should have consulted. That's all I can say. And I think the best way to play around removal is to cast Cauldron this turn and then do the Wistfulness discard Vivi thing next turn. To be fair, it took quite a while for Bombardment of Johnny to catch on. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they tested it. I agree. I don't think they tested it. Let's hope to not get mana tithed. I mean, also like at the first like MH3 Pro Tour, like Boros wasn't playing Ocelot Pride. It's crazy. All right, so we're gonna make 7 mana here. Discard the Vivi. Unless they have Surgical. They don't play Surgical very often, right? So we're gonna make probably 2 red, the rest blue. So 7 mana floating. I think I'd like to just start off by casting a Rumble, since we don't really have much left still. Let's see what we find. We find another Vivi. We find a Ballista. Yeah, so let's go grab Ballista. Spend 6 mana to cast this. Yeah, I just don't think I need to sack the spawn to float a different color. Then I'm gonna make a blue, and I'm gonna spend the other color, but I'm gonna go Fear of Missing Out, discard Fatestitcher. Amtraptor and Ring were still running the show then. Nadu was running the show then. Boros wasn't playing a Ring at that point either. So I imagine they've got a Galvanic Discharge. So discard Fatestitcher, we draw a Faithless Looting, which is helpful. I'm going to unearth the Fatestitcher. I think Bowman was insanely popular at the Pro Tour. It probably had something. I mean, it had something, but I think that they were wrong. I don't think that Bowmaster's popularity meant that you just shouldn't play Ocelot, Pride, and Boros. I think that it was wrong. I was playing Pride and Boros. I remember like right before the Pro Tour, and I made like a post saying it was correct, and I got a lot of people disagreeing with me. I remember that, which like even all that even sounds like wild to think about now, right? Right, so if they have discharge, I can now save my ballista from it, technically. I don't know that I will. So they discharge the FOMO, which doesn't matter that much. Matters a little bit for sure. So let's go to make red, red, blue. Cast the looting. We find a Wistfulness, so we don't have blue, blue to evoke it. I'm 1 mana short of putting another counter on the ballista. I can't activate the VV abilities on their turn, so I guess we're just going to pass back. Not a bad turn. If they kill my Cauldron and I just discarded the other two, this will feel really bad. Able to explain what Wistfulness does for Vivi. I guess you came after that turn, but what we did this turn was we evoked it, we discarded, and then we made 7 mana with the Wistfulness. Which is kind of the main purpose is that Wistfulness, when you can Cauldron Vivi onto it with the evoke on the stack, make 7 mana, then start to pop off. It also blows up lock pieces. It's good to hardcast in the grindy games. It also just helps you dig through your deck while you're comboing off. I think I'm probably going to hardcast it here, since it'll make me 14 mana afterwards. Yeah, let's go. We could also Cauldron first to make 8 mana instead of 6, but we also have the ability to Cauldron a VV later, and quite frankly, we're not hurting on mana here. Yeah, no worries, Chase. So I guess I kind of want to leave more green mana available. It doesn't seem like we're really going to be hurting for mana if we Cauldron now. Like this is a 14 mana jump. Maybe could have made it a little more red. Probably not going to matter a lot. There's a Profts, which will be worth a ton of mana. Two separate identical abilities. Yeah, and then with Fatestitcher, you get to do this a lot with the deck, which is really fun. Putting these on the spawn token is a little bit risky. I have another activation here, right? Yeah, still can activate again. I guess I will do. Well, maybe I should put the counters here if I'm worried about a discharge, so that I can. Yeah, that's probably going to be the best move. Maybe I'll put it on Vivi. No, that doesn't make as much sense. Yeah, I'll just discard Vivi so I can Cauldron again once I find a Fatestitcher, and then let's just play a round of discharge. We don't need to super duper max on mana here. Although maybe combo killing will be difficult with Ballista already in play. No, it should be fine. We'll just untap the Cauldron. We have 3 Fatestitchers left. If they had discharged the Wistfulness, it was a 6/5. Oh, right. They could have done that, yeah. I mean, I do think it makes some sense to play around the one card they could possibly have. I guess we don't want to put that into our hand. But yeah, sure. We are just in a really safe point then. Yes, yeah. I don't know if the chatter who said Winternight Stories seems really weak. No, is still here, but I wonder if your opinion has changed after this game. But it's very important for these kind of turns to be possible. I don't think that the deck functions without the Winternight Stories. Pyroclasm looking pretty good here, huh? I too evaluate cards when they're best. I have infinite mana. Fair enough. I've been had. All right. 1-1 this league. Hopefully, you can play a non-Boros matchup, but not the worst deck against Boros. I think our first our game one was winnable, and I chose to try to go for the kill when I could have just stabilized instead, and then I think game two my draw landed pretty poorly against theirs, where they navigated around Pyroclasm really well. I don't know that there's a big rush necessarily. I think with hands like this, I kind of like to not cast the looting where I don't have anything good to loot away. Especially with Surveil lands in the deck, of course. Puts on a Mold of 6. This is Boros again. I played against so much Boros last night too. I was getting pretty frustrated. So we probably don't want to be playing the FOMO this turn into the possible discharge. I think I'm just going to Rumble. So we find a Vivi. Seems like I want to take Wistfulness for the Gran-Gran Vivi thing. If we draw a land, we can probably win next turn. In this strategy, looting feels like a combo card more than a value card. I'll say looting has almost always been a combo card over a value card in Magic. Some decks have played it like as a draw spell, but almost all like looting decks have been value decks or combo decks. All right, not Boros. Let's go. Windswept Heath Archive is a little weird. I guess this is Quantum Energy. Okay, it's Jeskai. Wait, does Jeskai play Windswept Heath? Maybe they do. All right, a land probably wins here. That's not a land. So, point I was making is I save looting for 3/4, never fire top 1/2. Okay, I see. Fair enough. So I think I want to play the FOMO this turn so that I have a blocker for Felia. I think if I do this, I don't think they're very likely to mess with my spawn token. I don't think they're going to attack with Felia just to blink the spawn, which will let me go for Cauldron Wistfulness next turn, assuming that they do get rid of my FOMO. So Prismatic Ending does foil my plans, to where now I don't have a fourth land to go for this all in one go. Although it's kind of nice that Ending is going here instead of all my Cauldron. A land is what we want. We don't find the land again. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna. I want to try to do this all at once if I can. So I'm just gonna cast the Winternight, look for land number 4. Seems like we should have time. I think I feel okay about how we've sequenced this. Although they force pitching Helga, interesting. So the Sacred Foundry in the yard is interesting. This is they're obviously playing Solitude and they're playing Subtlety. Would they be playing Scion of Draco too? Maybe just Omnath? Maybe just 4-color Omnath. Again, trying to wait until I have land number 4 to do this all at once, although maybe this is foolish. I just think I want to play around Prismatic Ending. Finding land number 4 proving difficult. Omnath plays Felly. I mean, they can. Like, I think they probably have Omnath in their deck, right? If they're playing these colors. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take a second Cauldron. Be a little less afraid of interaction on it. Maybe they have a consign. I guess I could exile a card from the yard, but seems like no consign. So now we're gonna go for Wistfulness, and if my opponent, I don't have a Fatestitcher, right? I don't. If my opponent, I'm gonna leave this like this because green mana is harder to make than red mana once we have Vivi. Although maybe this is wrong because maybe I'd want to cast Looting after. I don't know that I would. Yeah, let's let the draw 2, discard 1 resolve before we tap the Cauldron. Yeah, if they have Solitude, we get to gain a lot of life. Although we don't find another land still after those draw 2. A big chunk of what's left in our deck is lands. Do you get a window to put a Vivi under the Cauldron on their turn after returns? We did get a window, but it's kind of risky if we can't stick a creature. Then they get to like do this, where the Felly it's exiled again. But maybe that's not as big a concern. So I think at this point I'll discard the 4th Cauldron. Then I'm going to target Vivi, see if they have another Solitude. Now I think I'm going to play Ballista X=1. Activate this to make a red mana. Cast Looting. Discard Breeding Pool. Discard Looting. And then now we'll have enough counters to kill the Felia. Don't want to do this now because their last card could be another Felia. I guess I'll do it on their upkeep. All right, they've got the Ephemerate. When they rebound, I guess I'll just go ahead and kill both. I really do enjoy playing these kind of matchups with this deck. I think they end up being pretty interesting. I've had no Fatestitchers in the top 37. They draw 3 with a Lorien revealed. We draw a copy of Wistfulness. Yeah, so I don't think we need to get too greedy here, although maybe what that means is a little subjective. Would be a bit bummed if they had another Solitude and another white card, I guess. So I'm gonna go and actually activate the Cauldron before the Vivi resolves, because if they Solitude in response, I'll probably want to keep the other Cauldron, and if they don't, I'll probably be fine to discard it. So let's go to make 14 mana. Sure, at least one of y'all at home are like, wait, what? Wait, did I tap my mana wrong? Wistfulness triggered ability not met because intervening if condition is not met. That's not possible though, because I tapped blue for it. My Steam Vince and my Islander tapped. There would have been no way for me to. There would have been no way for me to not have paid blue. If the Hedge Maze was tapped, that was possible. No, if I tapping for red couldn't have been the case. Yeah, I think there might be a bug we ran into. Like if we maybe activating the Vivi ability messed it up. We should be fine here. But as far as I can tell, that was a bug. You have Cauldron out, you might have clicked red. Cauldron doesn't let you cast spells with different colors. Again, I mean, it's not going to be the difference between winning and losing this. I think that was a bug, and I try not to blame things on bugs if I can help it, but that's what it seemed like, right? So we're gonna tap this so they can't consign a Proft's trigger, I think. I'm pretty sure I've drawn enough to Cauldron Ballista them, but okay, that just concede. Now against control, typically I like to bring in a lot of Force of Negations, but they seem to be very creature heavy because they're playing Helga. So I think I'm gonna play a couple Veil of Summers. I'm like, have I tried to research Buried Alive combo? I have, yeah, and of course, as always, if you have a question like this, one thing you can do, and I'm happy to answer, but one thing you can do is you can go to moxfield.com/user/aspiring spike, and you can go type Buried Alive into my page. And there's a little bit of a Chrome lag here. But yeah, we went through this deck, this Buried Alive Cauldron deck. And so the idea was Fatestitcher was really cool with Buried Alive Cauldron because it allowed you to unearth the Fatestitcher and then Cauldron both things that you got with Buried Alive. So what this could be was Asmodeus plus Scourge Familiar. So you like discard 3 cards and then you spend 3 mana to draw 7. That lets you just draw your entire deck. But if you don't have 3 cards in your hand to discard to start the loop, you can get Gristlebrand instead. And then you can try to get the loop set up too. This deck was like fine. Also playing the Gran-Gran Fatestitcher deck combo too. I thought it was pretty reasonable. On the draw against Omnath, we'll keep this. Just a fine hand of lands and spells, although we have a tap land. Do you think Jeskai Blink with a light Stoneforge package is worth trying? It might be worth trying. I do think like the Meteor Stoneblade, that stuff tested well. That being said, it's undoubtedly the combo is much better when you have Ugin's Labyrinth in your deck and you just feel really comfortable to play like 4 Meteor Swords and then you get to hardcast them too. It's like Ugin's Labyrinth to me was a big part of the mono white deck working. I guess I don't want to attack into Ophelia, do I? Have you tried Blink Vial variants with Speaker? No, I don't think there's anything there. Formidable Speaker is a combo card. It's not a value card in my testing so far. We'll see if we get to block the Felia. Do you think Animate Dead Necromancy would be fine in Modern? They wouldn't break Modern. I don't think they would be good additions. Another thing too is there's like 0 chance the best way to buff Reanimator is to print an old broken reanimation spell. Like printing stuff like Persist and Emperor of Bones. Like those 2 cards like specifically have been really cool additions that are like more balanced versions of like old effects. We don't need to just print an old broken reanimation card. You would print a new balanced one, and that would always be the best way to add an effect like that to Modern, in my opinion. I just am not very interested in like printing Animate Dead into Modern. Okay, this was pretty high on my list of cards to draw. Although I'm not quite going to be able to get through this turn, am I? All right, I think I'm going to put the counter on the FOMO since I could FOMO Profts next turn. They're holding up a good bit of mana. Let's lead on Wistfulness to get Delirium and then also draw some extra cards for the Profs. Dispute is really bad for me here. Let's see if I can get Delirium. That's not Delirium. I don't think I want a Riddler here. I don't think I care that much to play around a second Felia because I have another Gran-Gran here. And I'm probably discarding Fear of Missing Out so that I can have Delirium for next turn. Just an idea, Cabal Therapist with Airship. I mean, Cabal Therapist, do you think this card is playable at all? Unless you're playing Ornithopter or Midnight. The first time you can Cabal Therapy is not until turn 3. Which is just so insanely slow. This is a format where you're dying on turn 3 so often. Is Solitude pitching Helga end of turn? Now, why would they do this when they could have cast Helga, then cast Solitude? They have Ephemerate? Okay, they have Ephemerate. Will they rebound onto the Riddler? I think I did play a Cabal Therapist when Luris was legal for a little bit. Would not recommend it, though. So let's go and get this countered and then play a Gran-Gran. Oh, I thought that was going to get countered. Life total a little sketchy too. No VVs in the top 26. Not yet, though. We'll find one. I think the way the card plays, he wants to sack himself, but he has... Wait, can you sack Cabal Therapist to itself? I always thought you had to sack other things. Okay, you're right. It can be a one-time Cabal Therapy with Suspend 1, which is also not very good, but it's a little bit better than I thought it was. Therapist is something to use after you have Airship as a ways to trigger the cloning or reduce opponent's pitch. So accrues Airship in a pinch. I don't know. It's like, yes, it accrues Airship. And yes, it's like gets the Airship going. But, you know, in theory, these are situations where you're almost always going to be really ahead anyways, right? Let's go cast Cauldron, cast Wistfulness. I guess instead of trying to save green for Rumble, I'm going to try to have red to draw looting off of this. Right, found a VV. See if they have anything. So they have a Solitude. How perfect draw. I mean, that was the first VV in 29. You got to find it eventually. So the extra life obviously makes things feel really comfortable here. Seems like we should cast the looting. Discard 1/2. Go to combat. Trigger here. Now, do I attack or I think I don't attack so I can tap this to profs. Yeah, so go to second main. Also, I think I have all 4 Fatestitchers. It's crazy how many games are like, okay, 30 cards deep. There's 4 of. We found none of them. It's happened so many times today. Not that it's like a big deal, just statistically interesting. We should still be in great shape here. I think we'll discard the stories. Okay, discard Fatestitcher, and then yeah, let's go unearth Fatestitcher, untap. Wait, did I not have another VV yet? I do have another VV. Okay, untap the Cauldron. Can't believe we played this deck so many times, and like before now, we just had not found. We had not found the Fatestitcher attack. Although I mean, it is kind of obscure, I guess, but it has been so good. Wistfulness has also just been, I think, phenomenal. Guess I'm just gonna go fetch my last breeding pool real quick. Pretty sure it's still in there. Yep. Not that they are very likely to have a counter spell. All right, so we'll flashback. We have 3 lootings. We're not particularly far away from fizzling. Although I guess we don't have infinite mana left. We have 4 mana here. Better to cast a Winternight from hand than a looting from the yard. We need to find another Fatestitcher. Okay, there we go. 2 cards. Discard 1, 2. Keep the Veil up just in case, although it seems very unlikely. Untap here. Then Cauldron, Vivi onto Wistfulness, and this will give me a mana boost of like 30 or something like that. What is the Fatestitcher deck? Are you watching this game? Or there's also an infinite combo with Gran-Gran. If you Cauldron Fatestitcher onto Gran-Gran, you get infinite untap. So that's when we first found it. Or you're just saying you didn't know that existed. I finished reading your comment. But yeah, there's also an infinite combo with Gran-Gran. You can infinitely draw your deck, and then use profs to get get like 50 counters in Cauldron Ballista. Got 10 or 12 cards left in our deck. 10 after we draw here. Discard 1, 2. You don't cast Vivi that often. It's kind of a fine spot to do so. Can get in for a little extra chip damage. That isn't the most relevant, but yeah, there's our Ballista. So we should have another. We should have one more Fatestitcher in the deck, right? There's 2 in play. Okay, we have 2 more Fatestitchers in the deck. I think I'll still just go discard 1, 2. Make a bunch of mana again. Yeah, I think because we've already profs. Although what did we? Oh, we have 5 counters on Gran-Gran. Yeah, we're gonna need to just try to make a big ballista here. So maybe I made a mistake casting this VV. It's not going to be a big mistake if it is a mistake. So I've got 2 cards left in my deck. I guess we should. Can I safely cast that? It's a lot of extra power toughness, which I really like. Let's wait on casting that to see if we need it, I guess. But the plan is going to be to cast a big ballista. And then use the ballista's counters that we can, when we cast a big ballista here, it has 3 instances of VV's ability to put more counters on itself. And then if that's not enough, we can Cauldron the ballista again. If that's not enough, we can Cauldron the ballista again. Oh, that's too much. Wait, why isn't this 9? Okay, weird. Keep up the veil. So my fingers are twitching a little bit. Okay, bonus gives us the GG. GG T2. So I'm not sure exactly how much damage we could have dealt there. But again, after we use all this mana to put more counters on the ballista. Oh, actually, we could have dealt more because after each VV activation, you should put more counters on and then activate VV again to make more mana. Not necessary here, but if you're trying to learn everything about the deck, I think we have to keep this despite not having red for looting. Oh, our third Boros opponent this league. No changes to the ban list. No, you could have done more, I see. Yeah, I guess that's not what I would interpret unoptimal plays to mean, but we're going to keep this on the top. We do really want to draw it. We're not going to get to draw it because they've got a Ragavan. But it's a dead card, so we don't want, they're not going to get something good. Blood Moon might be like actively helpful for me if they had it this turn. Discard a Flage and a Goblin Bombardment. We find a Rumble, which is interesting. Is it right to play Rumble this turn? I think game one, I think I'm just going to get the Cauldron down. Could VV be played in a Twiddlestorm style deck as the win con, ping opponent a bunch? No, this is kind of an interesting question because this was asked a lot. This was asked a lot of times about VV. People thought VV was going to be like a storm card where it's like your win condition in storm and it's also a mana enabler. But the thing is, having a win condition in storm is really irrelevant because these decks, Twiddle Storm, Ruby Storm, they just draw their entire deck and they make 40 mana. Winning the game is inconsequential. You could do it in 1,000 different ways. So it's a lot more important. Okay, not dead, but the bombardment's gonna be pretty tough to beat here. It's a lot more important that your also we can't fetch shock. It's a lot more important that your mana engines are better, and so the fact that VV is a win condition is irrelevant, and it's not as good of a mana generating card as other options are. So yeah, I think I need to find exactly Wistfulness, because otherwise everything just kind of dies to the bombardment. I don't find it. We could Cauldron VV onto the spawn token. It's gonna be a little weak. We'll go to game 2. Yeah, the One Ring Twiddlestorm deck was pretty fun. Again, I had 4 Pyroclasms for Boros. Earlier this league, it's felt like it's been over sideboarding, so we're just going to be playing 2 Pyroclasms for 2 Quantum Riddlers right now, and then potentially adding different cards to the sideboard when we play the deck next. Okay, on the play. Gonna keep our 7 here. Not the best hand, but we'll definitely keep on the play. Opponent's on a mold to 5. They have a 1-drop. It's a guide. How does this combo feel compared to Twin? It's kind of incomparable. Like Twin is a 7-card package that you play in a Jeskai control deck, and this is a like all-in spell-based combo deck that's trying to combo kill turn 3. It's apples and oranges. I think I'm gonna take the Profs. Maybe I take Wistfulness, hardcast VV next turn, and then hardcast Wistfulness the turn after. I think I would do that, actually. Or that's going to be my current plan. I miss Esper Sentinel. Boros Hammer looks nice. Yeah, I've been missing that deck. Like, one thing I like about that deck is it's really good against Boros Energy, usually. And there has been, as y'all may have noticed, a lot of Boros Energy. Deck, they would sack Earthbent, MDFC lands, and evolution them into Atraxa Gristlebrand. Interesting. So that's a target for my Wistfulness destruction, which is interesting. I could also go VV plus... Yeah, let's actually go VV plus cast Faithless Looting here. This way sorry, no. VV would still die to Flage. Wouldn't die to bombardment though. Or sorry, discharge. Is there something you would do to weaken or ban Boros? Yeah, I would definitely ban a card from Boros if I was in charge of the ban list. I think the fact that it has been like the top or second deck for a year and a half has made Modern feel kind of stale. And if I was in charge of the ban list, I would take something. I don't think it matters a lot which card you take because they're all really similar power level. So again, I don't think it's that relevant. uh, what you ban? I mean, it is, but it's all pretty similar. But I would ban something if I had control, but I don't have control. I just do generally think if a deck is at the top of a format for a year and a half, it's not a good thing. Ban Aaron Mesa just to see what happens. Should Agani go and maybe Raptor was okay? The people still talking about Raptor is great. Raptor was the best card then. It still would be the best card. Like, I like unbanning Raptor is crazy. Raptor was all, but again, yeah, Raptor was always the best card in the deck. I don't know. It's crazy. We're still talking about Raptor. Like, was this actually good? Was this card that's like 2 mana, 2/1 first striker cast a cast a spell from the top of my deck that could be sometimes even a 4 mana spell? Is this card even good? I don't know. Should this card have been banned? I don't know. I just don't know how we're still talking about this. Like, yeah, like still the disrespect for Raptor is wild to me. I do think I'm gonna take the time to Pyroclasm, but I should Pyroclasm second main phase because of discharge. Raptor ain't shit without guide, in my opinion. It's just not true, but I'm not gonna argue. Amped Raptor was the most broken card in a very broken deck, so it was I think hard to evaluate because again, there's a lot of new busted cards. Hard to tell. I agree, but Amped Raptor would be an Aphora for sure if Guide of Souls was not around. I think, although Guide of Souls is very important and they're very good together. I baited him, yes. Did you hear about the Spanish board that did a lot of 80-player Ghost Commander tournaments? It was revealed with Companion going public. What's a Ghost Commander tournament? I don't know if that's like fraud or if that's like a fun format I haven't heard of. It could be either. I think this is Thraben Charm. Get rid of my X discard, but I feel like yeah, probably should have killed that before I got the counters on. I think Bombardment needs to be banned. So I think I would ban a Johnny before I banned Bombardment, but I don't know. Again, I would ban something from Boros, yeah. But I don't want to spend any more time talking about it because what's the point? All right, game 3 on the draw. Would you ban something from another deck? Yeah, okay. No more after this. But if I was in charge of the modern ban list, I would ban a Johnny, Kozilek's Command, Wrath the Skies, Amulet. I think those 4. And then I would unban Death Red Shaman and like 3 bad cards. Okay, on the draw for game 3. Can we keep this hand on the draw against Boros? I think yeah. You probably need to hit Affinity with it if you ban Wrath. I feel really strongly that that's not the case. I think Affinity is still very containable without Wrath Disguise. I think it's still very, very containable without Wrath Disguise. I think Flage is more obvious ban than the Johnny. You could ban Flage too. I think that's fine. As far as like if you were gonna ban something from Boros, I don't care very much if you ban Guide, Pride, and Johnny Flage, like because it's just all of these cards together are like so like egregious, and if you ban in the individual piece, it like all crumbles a little bit. I would pick a Johnny. You could make a great argument for any of these, and I think that they're all such similar power level. It's very tough. All right, so this game probably will come down to, do I find a Vivi off the Wistfulness or not? Or do they have Mana Tithe? No. I'm like Mana Tithe traumatized, dude. I would like to see Fury unbanned before those. It doesn't. I think it makes no sense to unban Fury. And if you think it does, can you think of another time that like unbanning an answer, unbanning like an interactive card has been a good move for a format? I don't know that it's ever happened, but like unbanning a busted card to try to deal with busted cards just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. With banning Bombardment, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to ban Bombardment over a Johnny, but all these cards are very synergistic, so it would be a nerf for sure. All right, so maybe I surveil. Let's see what we draw, but I drew Vivi. Let's fucking go. I'll play around Mana Tithe by playing my Flooded Strand first. I'm gonna stop talking about bans for at least this turn. Gotta sit up straight. Now, I don't have that many cards I can draw at the time of making this comment, so it does matter a lot what I draw off the Wistfulness. Okay, that's a good amount of cards. So we'll discard the Vivi. We'll Cauldron the Vivi onto Wistfulness. No, they have Surgical. Tough. So 1 and 2 against Boros this league. I think it's lunchtime. I know we could finish up, but I've been going kind of long lately, and I am pretty hungry. So I don't think we're gonna get to the we're not getting to the hammer deck today, but I'm gonna say that I have been wanting to circle back to